we're going to talk a bit about another kind of carrying on a classic character. Not just this happens not only just in animation. No matter what age you are, you grow up with a character named Lamb Chop in your life, and Lamb Chop was brought to life by a very wonderful woman named Shari Lewis, who I had the pleasure of working with a few times. Lamb Chop is still, Sherry's not with us anymore, but Lamb Chop still is. And in this case, the casting was real easy. They kept it within the family. Would you welcome Mallory Lewis?
Trying to figure out how I get
Oh, just go around. There we go.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh.
Hi, Lamb Chop.
Hi, Lamb Chop.
Sweetheart, why are you wearing that silly thing on your head?
It's not a silly thing. I am the radical moose lamb.
Because nothing's funnier than a puppet in a hat.
Anyway. Hello, Lamb Chop.
Hello, sweetheart. Can I sit right
Sure,
here?
absolutely, fine. Now, Lamb Chop, I worked with the other lady who was with you for a long time, and I remember sitting with her at the VSDA in Las Vegas, and every single person who came up to the table said, I grew up with you, no matter what age they were, because everybody who was, you know, if they were watching kids shows in their 50s and the 60s and the 70s, this was in the early 80s.
What about the 80s and the 90s?
Well, this was in the early 80s, okay? And they also, now when you go out and make personal appearances now, do they say the same thing to you all the time?
Of course they do. They say, I grew up with Shari and I grew up with you. And then they look at me and they say, wow, Lee, you look good for your age.
And I say she had a good seamstress.
Yeah. Well, wool doesn't age much. I mean, it's very nice.
I use Rollite and yeah, that.
Yeah. Anyway, years ago, I got to meet Senor Wences at his 100th birthday party.
Is that right?
Yes, and he said, you know, we know how the characters don't age. He said, well, when he painted the face on his hand was aging because his hand was getting more wrinkled.
Yes.
So, well, now, may I talk to the lady who brought you here for a minute
you
here?
want to.
Okay, Mallory.
But I'm not famous.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Wonderful working with a sibling.
yeah, isn't that all way it always? And you're working with a sibling. This is part of your family.
Oh, yeah.
How old were you when you? First of all, how great is it to have Shari Lewis reading you bedtime stories?
It was pretty great. You know, it's interesting, when Mom used to do Lamb Chop, when I was little, and she would come into my room at night, I could tell Lamb Chop anything, and she never told my mom. And because, you know, when you're like 7, what's your big crime? I lost my white sweater at school. I seem to remember that incident. I hated that white sweater. And I told Lamb Chop, and she didn't tell Mommy.
I wouldn't rat you out. Thank you.
How old were you when you started working puppets and were taught about them?
Well, you know, I mean, I grew up obviously doing, not doing Lamb Chop. Nobody did Lamb Chop but my mom. And I really wasn't that, I did not want to be an entertainer. I was a writer. I had 20 novels published. I wrote for television, produced television, and then Mom died. And if I hadn't taken over working with Lamb Chop, she would have been dead too. Oh. And I got a letter in the first week after Mom died. Somebody wrote, you know, we got a ton of lovely letters. I'm still responding. And somebody said, is Lamb Chop dead too?
And I didn't want to be dead.
Oh. So I was very busy accepting posthumous awards for my mom for about 9 months until my then husband said to me, quite accurately, you know, you can't make a living accepting posthumous awards. And, which was a shame because I was really having a very nice time. I'd go places, people would tell me how much they loved my mom. They'd hand me a statue of some sort. And I'd go home, and I was traveling. I was pregnant when my mom died, and so I was traveling with my baby, and I appeared at a Pat Proft. You guys know who Pat Proft is, like the funniest writer ever in the history of mankind, present company accepted. And sorry, Pat. And Pat and his wife had Mom at a some charity event right before she got sick. And then he invited us back the next year. And I tucked Lamb Chop into the podium because I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it. And I put her on, and she said,
Sherry would be so proud.
and if it had been a script, it would have said audible gasp and then applause. And I was like, ooh, that was a good sound. We refer to it as the happy sound now in my family. And then the next time I did Lamb Chop was to accept Mom's 13th and posthumous Emmy Award at Radio City Music Hall in front of the entire planet.
That's cool.
And it never occurred to me to be concerned about it because, first of all, I'd seen my mom do it, so how hard could it be? Because we all know how much respect we have for our parents, right? I've gotten more as I've become a parent. But also, I trusted her.
Because, people say, how come Lamb Chop still resonates with kids? It's because I'm a really good character. I mean, it's not hard to write for me, and I always sound like me because I'm me.
And I mean, you guys know if you've got a character, you can ad-lib any of the characters you do because you know their soul. It's not, and I wrote for her. So also people will often say to me, boy, your comedy is so much more contemporary than your mom's. And I'm like, she's been dead 20 years. Leave her alone. She would be doing Radical Moose Lamb now because I would have written it for her.
Yeah.
So there's a long-winded answer.
Now,
to your short question.
when you the first time you tried doing Lamb Chop, was the voice just there?
Yeah, the voice was there.
You didn't have to study it.
No.
You didn't have to refine it.
No.
It was just in you.
Boom.
Good.
I did have to learn things like, because I tour the country doing performing arts centers, and I did have to learn things like turn your microphone on before you go on stage, take your phone out of your pocket before you go on stage, and find the opening to the curtain before they call your name. These were all things that I did not know experientially.
What percentage of the people you meet in making personal appearances or doing autographs later, things like that, are aware this is a second generation?
Well,
I would think some of them don't want to know that.
Some of them don't. I was doing a USO parade, and I was on the back of some motorcycle, which my mother would have hated. And I had Lamb Chop up on the guy's shoulder, And I pulled up to a light, and this woman on the side goes, Jesus Christ, Shari Lewis, she looks great. And I thought to myself, Mom would have really liked that. So people often call me Shari, and then they apologize. And I'm like, you don't have to apologize. I have the same last name. I've dyed my hair red. I have a sock on my hand. I'm obviously engendering this. I'm good with it. It's not like they called me Hitler. They called me Shari. Yes.
Okay. Hello. I worked with Shari, and this sounds exactly the same to me. This is uncanny. I mean, it's kind of frightening. And I was very pleased. I asked Mallory back in the green room. She's also doing Charlie Horse and Hush Puppy.
Oh yeah, of course.
Too.
Charlie Horse still around.
Yeah.
He's a little hard on the vocal cords. And then there's Hush Puppy, who's just, the same sweet, stupid self he always was.
Anyway, well, thank you, Mal. This is just great having you here. We're
Can I
gonna
just do one thing?
Sure.
If you know it, you should feel free to sing along.
This is the song that doesn't end. Yes, it goes on and on, my friend. Some people start. That's it.